welcome to the World of Wrestling podcast. Here today to talk about MMA news and rumors, episode number 10. We're going to discuss about 3 different articles that I was able to go ahead and find that I'm interested in going over with you guys today. It's going to be kind of a short video over the UFC content. I just uploaded boxing, the headliner of that one for episode number 7 is about Canelo Alvarez walking away from boxing after 4 more fights that's coming up in his career, and then he's calling it quits, as well as some other interesting stories that I went over that was covered on the on that video. Go ahead and check it out when you get an opportunity, or right now if you'd like, before watching this video. But my top story that I'd like to cover today is Alexander Volkanovski respects Ilia Topuria for vacating the UFC featherweight title. Alexander Volkanovski admits he didn't expect Topuria to relinquish his UFC featherweight belt. Topuria opted to leave his 145-pound title behind for a move up to lightweight. As a result, Volkanovski, 26-5 overall in the MMA, 13-4 in the UFC, will battle Diego Lopes, who's 26-6 in MMA overall, 5-1 in the UFC, for the vacated title in Saturday's UFC 314 main event, which should be a barn burner of a fight. I'm looking forward to watching this. The great figure Topuria, who's 16-0 and 8-0 in the UFC, would attempt to chase dual champion status. It goes on to further state by Volkanovski in quotation, I was pretty surprised with him vacating. He told MMA Junkie and other reporters Wednesday at UFC 314 Media Day. I knew he wanted to chase the lightweight title to move up. I heard him saying that, but I didn't think he would give up the belt that easy. I thought he would try and hold it. That's why you've got to have respect for that, for him to not want to hold up the division. Volkanovski lost his featherweight title to Topuria by knockout at UFC 298 last February. After Topuria defended his title with a knockout of Max Holloway at UFC 308, he welcomed the idea of a rematch with Volkanovski, but ended up changing divisions. Obviously, I wanted that fight back. I wanted to get back that win. Volkanovski said, I was hoping to fight a bit later last year, like October, maybe even December-ish. It was starting to drag on. I got to a point where I was like, all right, if he's going to wait around, I'll do an interim against someone and then we'll fight. It got to that point, so it wasn't a surprise that he moved up, but surprise that he vacated the belt. Volkanovski isn't ruling out the possibility to get a chance to avenge his loss to Topuria. I plan on being that active defending the champ, Volkanovski said. Once he's done his fight, if he was to win the belt, imagine us running it back, both champions after me having this title reign. I'm expecting to have a couple of fights by the time he fights again, to be honest. That's how active I want to be. So you can just imagine how big that rematch could be. Getting that win back is still an opportunity not too far in. Well, I will admit this. Diego Lopes has got a good shot at beating Alexander Volkanovski. I like Alexander Volkanovski. I will be satisfied with him winning the fight if that was the case if that was to happen at this event this Saturday. And this is a big fucking event. This is a from top to bottom. This fight card's pretty fucking good. There's prelim has a few holes in it. That's not all that important. But there are some really good prelim fights too that you're going to be able to watch for free and not have to pay to watch. So that's impressive in its own right to have the prelims being like something worth watching on television, even if you can't afford to buy the pay-per-view itself to watch it live. So my attitude, this is going to be a good event. Alexander Volkanovski, I'm not counting him out, but I think Thiago Lopez is going to win this fight. I don't think he's a lock because Alexander Volkanovski, even though, yes, he's aging, he's still a veteran. He knows what it's like to fight at the top. Thiago Lopez is in the first time ever in a main event for a world championship in his weight class. And if he can get past Volkanovski, which is possible because of the age, and he's a good fighter, then we know he's for real. But until that happens, we can't say that Volkanovski's going to lose this fight until it actually happens. Me personally, would I bet on Thiago Lopez in this fight? Yes, because he's plus money. I don't know if that's still the case. I'd have to take a look. Let me take a quick look here and see if that is still the case for him. I'll look on Hard Rock since that is what I'm able to use here in Florida. One second, guys. Just trying to get to it. But yeah, I think that is going to be an awesome fight. Really. And the styles are going to clash. I think it's going to be a great clash of styles, honestly. So I wouldn't be shocked by it by any means. Give me one moment though, guys, because for some strange reason, Hard Rock does not have the entire fight card for some strange reason, which is pretty odd and strange all at the same time. All right. So Thiago Lopez on Hard Rock is a plus 120. I would definitely bet on him. That would not even be a guess. That's easy. I would bet on him without a shadow of a doubt. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Yes, I would bet on Thiago Lopez. That is good money right there. In a fight like this, that's that close, hell yeah. Let's just say you were to bet $70 on him, you'd be winning back $84 fucking dollars. So you'd get a grand total of 154 total. That's not bad, man. And that's just one thing you're having to bet on. You don't have to bet on a bunch of parlays or anything to hit that number. It's right on the money that you really could use it to be at and so forth. I mean, that is excellent. I use my bookie because I like to bet on pro wrestling. It's an overseas account, so you have to really like keep up after your wins and losses so that you can keep track whether or not you should be taxed for it or not. But yes, you are allowed to use overseas accounts. Think of it as like, for instance, let's say you were living in the state that doesn't allow you to bet through DraftKings or anything else, like let's say Texas as one of those states, and you went to Vegas, you can actually bet in Vegas since you're visiting there. It's kind of the same thing as like going to an overseas account, like this, my bookie, which is overseas, and doing that. The only difference is that you have to keep up after your wins and losses because they don't provide that to you since they're not in the United States. Um, so that is basically how that whole thing works. It's quite annoying to have to keep up after it. You have to take pictures of your wins and losses so you can track it and everything. So it is kind of it can be taxing on you a little bit. But that's the downside of betting overseas. Other than that, they do give you some pretty good odds. On my bookie, though, they don't give you a very good odd here. I mean, on my bookie, they're only giving you a plus 105, which is shit compared to what you can get with Hard Rock. So, yeah, Hard Rock would be a better sports book to bet on Diogo Lopez. But, yeah, Diogo Lopez, I'd give him a shot to bet on him and see how he would do since he is plus money. Alexander Volkanovski, Volkanovski, he's a good fighter. I'm hoping he wins, but I think the young stud is gonna come through and get the W. It should be an entertaining fight, and I hope Volkanovski, regardless if he wins or loses, he at least has a good, outstanding performance of some sort, even in defeat, because honestly, in the last couple of since Islam Makhachev, he has been just on a downward spiral, really bad. He's been getting his ass kicked. So hopefully he has a good fight and comes across looking good, and possibly even get the W. But I think Diogo Lopez could get this win without a shadow of a doubt. Actually, came up across an article recently, actually a couple of weeks ago. This article came out March 27th about former Bellator double champion Ryan Bader parts ways with PFL and enters free agency. There's a possibility he could go back to UFC. He hasn't been in the UFC in God knows how long, but he's been outstanding in Bellator until they were bought out by Pro Fighters League, which I think is fucking ridiculous promotion. I don't really care for their promotion. They do their shit in seasons. I don't know why. Their title holders don't mean shit. They win tournaments to gain championships. They don't really particularly defend the titles all that much. And they're not consistent throughout the whole year like a UFC or boxing or anything like that. It just seems so, not the same. But anyway, Ariel Helwani, Bader and the Professional Fighters League, PFL, have parted ways despite a single fight left on Bader's current contract. It's uncertain who proposed the contract termination, but Bader will now enter 2025 as a free agent, which is an interesting position for an accomplished 41-year-old wrestler. Bader leaves the promotion not as a champion due to a 21-second KO loss at the massive hands of Renan Fiera. Prior to that defeat, Bader put together a 3-fight win streak over the likes of Fedor Emelianenko and Chachek Czech Congo, defending his Bellator heavyweight crown multiple times in the process. This isn't the first time Bader has been a high-profile free agent. Way back in 2017, Bader opted to leave UFC roster and join Bellator. It proved a wise decision as he quickly captured the light heavyweight title and made a pretty penny in the process. Many of his most important wins came under the Bellator banner, where he really went on the best run of his career, which is very true. What's next for Darth Bader? A UFC return could be possible. He's been at heavyweight for a while now, and that division could really use more fighters right now. Even at 41 years old, he has some name value and could help bulk up a fight card. The other most likely option is Risen. Bader is a big enough star to command some attention in Japan, and the promotion recently announced a heavyweight tournament that still has some vacancies. It continues to ask, where do you hope to see Bader compete next? I think Ryan Bader should go to UFC heavyweight division. That UFC heavyweight division is not the same competition it used to be. The only person that you have to worry about is John Jones and Tom Aspinall. And I think Ryan Bader could have a shot against Tom Aspinall. John Jones, on the other hand, I would say not. I wouldn't say that he'd have a shot against John Jones. Tom Aspinall, I think, would have a shot at beating John Jones simply because of the fact that he's got that knockout power ability. If he could connect with John Jones, he could really put him down quickly and end him. But if it went the full distance, I think John Jones could win that fight. But I have enough faith in Tom Aspinall's hands that if he could just connect with a shot on John Jones, that's all it would take for him to win. So it's all dependent on how the fight would unfold. I honestly would not put money on either one of those two fighters because either way it could occur like that. Ryan Bader and Tom Aspinall, though, I'd say that would be a very good fight to see. But it's all depending on what Ryan Bader wants to do. 41 years old, he could even consider possible retirement because he's 41, man. I mean, there's not too many fighters that go past the age of 40 and continue to keep fighting at a high level. Not to mention, I don't think Ryan Bader has competed in an MMA fight in quite some time now. Let me just go on Tapology real quick, see when his last fight was. So Ryan Bader's last fight, he was 9-2 in Bellator. Holy shit. His last fight was on February 2024. Ew. And he lost in a PFL versus Bellator event. That was the last time he fought. He didn't defend any championship in Bellator, nothing. He didn't do squat. Wow. He lost to Corey Anderson in October of 2021. And then he lost to Vadim Nemkov. Jeez. But he didn't do too bad in Bellator. Bellator, he fucking killed it. So, yeah, and in UFC, I mean, the guy pulled off some insane amount of wins. He only lost 5 times out of 20 fights. He went 15-5. That's a very good record, man. If I was him, I'd consider going back to the UFC if I'm going to go anywhere. At least there's money to be made there. I mean, there's a lot of fighters he could go up against. But that's up to him, really. But, yeah, I think that would be fucking awesome. To see him go into the UFC, maybe chase after the heavyweight title at some point down the line. have a rematch with John Jones, which he already has. Let me check out what the deal was on that fight, how he lost. Because we all know John Jones beats everybody almost. He lost by a guillotine. So, in the second round, 4 minutes and 20 seconds in. That's not good. That was in 2011, in February. So, yeah, I mean, it's all dependent on what Ryan Bader thinks he should do at this point. At the age of 41, I wouldn't be shocked he just considers retirement altogether. He doesn't really need to do anything at this point in time. He's accomplished a lot in his career. The only thing left that he could possibly really want is a UFC title run, especially with a record of 15-5 in the UFC alone. That's an impressive record. So yeah, if he wants to come back to the UFC to chase after a world title run, I would be totally for it. The only thing I'd be concerned about is the age, but if he's doing it in the heavyweight division, I think he's got a good shot. If he wants to go to light heavyweight division, I think he probably has even a better shot, except for the Alex Pereira and Magnumov, who won the title from Alex Pereira. I would be a little concerned about those two, which they're the top of the helm right now in the light heavyweight division. So, I mean, Ryan Bader's got some obstacles to go through to get to that title, but I'm pretty certain Dana White will give him, he would probably only have to go through, 2 fights, maybe 1 or 2 fights, and then get an instantaneous world title opportunity. I mean, the guy went 15-5 in the UFC, beat some of the biggest names in the UFC, and only lost to top-notch fighters. So for him to do that and then go to Bellator, go 9-2, be a multi-world champion in the light heavyweight and heavyweight division and hold the title by multiple title defenses, I don't see why Dana White wouldn't give him an opportunity after 1 or 2 regular fights. So I think Ryan Bader's got a good shot at accomplishing a UFC title run if that's what he wants to go with. So only time will tell, and we'll see where he goes from there. The article I want to talk about is Mauricio Rufy being called a one-shot Brazilian Conor McGregor. And he thinks that the label isn't all wrong. So Mauricio Rufy enjoyed the action as punches flew back and forth, but this time he wasn't in the fight. He was a spectator as Jeffrey Veal and Dylan Malrath dropped the gloves. Rufy didn't quite understand the rules, though longtime friend Jan Elvera and fellow UFC fighter Connor Matthews were able to help fill in the knowledge gaps. Over 4,000 miles away from the Brazilian town of Curupi Alagoas, where he grew up, Rufy, 12-1 MMA-wise and 3-0 in the UFC, attended his first hockey game as the Boston Bruins battled the Washington Capitals. Rufy was personally invited to the game by Bruins forward Jacob Lacko, a massive UFC fan from Czech Republic, who saw on social media that Rufy was in town. Being recognized and respected on an international level was not unique to the situation. It has quickly become Rufy's way of life over the past 11 months since he made his UFC debut. To you guys, Mauricio Rufy is new, but this has been going on for a long time. Rufy recently told MMA Junkie through an interpreter, fellow fighter Oliveira, this construction has been going on for a long time, building who Mauricio Rufy is. Rufy is reaching new heights by the week. He plans to open up his own branch of Fighting Nerds with Oliveira in New Hampshire in the coming weeks, something that would have been impossible just months ago. Who is Mauricio Rufy? While the true tale of Rufy is 28 years long and counting, fighting fans are still acquainting themselves to a near contender who has only had 3 UFC fights. And folks, this guy is a fucking killer. From the moment I laid my eyes on him and the way he fights in that octagon, he is one tough son of a bitch. If he wanted to even be just a boxer, he'd be a fucking killer. This guy has got some really good skills with his hands, and he is good with his feet too. I love Mauricio Rufy. I mean, this guy is going to be a fucking superstar in the UFC. Guarantee it. Just last fight, Rufy told the world that his last name isn't even Rufy, it's Mauricio de Lima Santos. The name Rufy is based off of anime character Monkey D. Luffy. I'm fairly new here, Rufy said, but like I told you guys before, there's still a lot to come. There's a lot that's going to happen. You guys still have a lot to see. You haven't seen anything yet. I wonder what else he can do. Besides do a backflip off the octagon side of the wall cage. And then kick someone in the fucking head while he does it. Rufy is a key member of the skyrocketing Fighting Nerds team headed by coaches Pablo Topuria and Vavio Alvaro, and also featuring Cio Balahil. Yeah, that's one of the bigger fighters on that roster. Gene Silva, Carlos Prates, and among others, which are big names. Rufy remembers the first time he threw on a Fighting Nerd shirt right before he was immediately told it's not that easy. I walked in and I saw Ko Barrelho training with Pablo. Rufy said they were sparring. I loved everything I saw and was watching. I looked at Pablo and said, "Hey, I'm putting the shirt on. From now on, I'm a Fighting Nerd. I'm part of the team." Pablo just kind of stopped him in his tracks and said, hold on a second. We don't want any rotten fruits in our orchard here. Now, we're going to take this nice and slow. We're going to see if you can hang. You've got to show up and not miss a single practice for 30 days. If you miss a single practice in 30 days, you're out of here. You're not training with us. I loved the challenge. I loved what I was seeing. I proved myself like I said I would. The rest is history. I did my part, and I became part of the Fighting Nerds. Pablo said to me, "I'm a big fan of yours. I admire you. But for you to be part, you've got to fall into place. You've got to be part of this engine and make it so that things work smooth. But if you can make this happen, you're part of the team." Unlike his Fighting Nerd counterparts, Rufy's personality is much more contained. He's not chain smoking cigarettes or barking like a dog. He's quite quiet and polite demeanor isn't his main selling point. No, he's quiet and polite, not radiating an inkling of attention and self-seeking. He's generated tremendous buzz and nearly 400,000 Instagram followers almost solely on his fighting style and highlights alone, many of which are knockouts, making good on the one-shot name. What you guys saw there, it wasn't even close to everything I've got, Rufy said. I've got 30 other tricks in my pocket that I can't wait to show you guys. I said from the beginning before I came into the UFC that I'd bring something new, that I'd bring something different to the UFC, something you guys haven't seen before. I've got a lot more to show you guys. He's beaten down, his beatdown of Jamie Malaki was quite the first impression. His pummeling of the zombie-like James Latompe was something else, and his amazing spinning wheel kick knockout of King Green at UFC 313 in March is a candidate for knockout of the year. Hands down easy. The nature of those knockouts combined with his Topuria karate style, chest tattoos, beard, and quick explosion into the UFC spotlight, Rufy has drawn comparisons to a certain Irish combat legend. While the narrative largely exists online, Rufy said there's actually some credibility to it, and a relationship with Conor McGregor might be tangible. There's only one difference between the two. If Rufy's quiet and has a polite demeanor, then the personalities don't match. But the styles of fighting, I would agree. They're like night and day. They have the same fighting styles in the octagon, but personality trait-wise, they're totally different. And I think Rufy's he's a Class A dude with a great fighting ability. And I love watching this guy fight. Just 3 fights in the UFC, and I'm instantly hooked to this dude and the way he fights. Because he doesn't go for fucking decisions. He goes for the finish. That's the way you want to do it. You want to make a statement in these fights. If you can. If you can't find an opening to do that without getting knocked out or ruining your opportunity of winning the fight, then yeah, you go with what you can go with. I mean, that is the whole idea of fighting. You fight with what you fight what you can. If you can't find an opening to get the knockout, you just go for the victory, and that's it. You don't have to risk losing a fight that you have an opportunity of winning when you're clearly winning it on the scorecards. But if you see the opening, fucking take it and knock the guy out. So in construction of Mauricio Rufy, there was always a little bit of Conor McGregor there. Rufy said, I can see that. I'm a big Conor McGregor fan. I love McGregor's style. There's a little bit of McGregor there. One thing that I want is that when I'm ready to fight Islam Makhachev, good luck with that, when I go to fight him, I want to invite Conor McGregor to be in my corner. So it's us against the Russians. I want Conor McGregor there. I want Conor McGregor there and to be up close and taste the victory for when I beat the Russians. Khabib is going to be there, of course, so I want Conor McGregor to be there as part of my corner as well for when I defeat the Russians and put an end to Islam Makhachev. Boy, he does that, that'd be a fucking upset the century, man. I don't know. I mean, he's just a man. I mean, he could beat him. But still, I mean, it's a large mountain to climb. Islam Makhachev ain't no fucking pushover. Just saying. Immediately after the March victory, Rufy called out a contender, Benel Darish. According to Rufy, the UFC is interested, and it's up to Darish, who's 22-6 with a draw in the MMA overall, 16-6 and 1 in the UFC overall, to accept. If Darish accepts the fight, I'll be ready to go for International Fight Week, Rufy said. The UFC did show some interest. The UFC seemed to like that matchup a lot. I think all it comes down to now is Darish accepting the fight. If he accepts the fight, I think that's something the UFC will look forward to make happen. We'll have to see, and he just kind of goes on about that, and that's pretty much it. I think Mauricio Rufy and Darish would be an interesting fight. I think Rufy would pick a victory with that. I mean, Darish is older. He's got a lot of traction on him. a lot of wear and tear to his body in fighting. He's got like 23 fights in the UFC alone, and then several others outside the UFC. So I mean, he has experience, but at the same time, he's not at the level of where Islam Makhachev or Topuria, fucking even Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje. He ain't even in that level. I mean, he ain't anywhere near that. He's in the mid portion of things. I'd say the lower top 10, like 7. I'd say about 8 through 10, that kind of ranking, or below the 10th, and then like in the top 15. So from 10 to the 15th spot, I'd say. So I mean, he's not exactly high ranked talent, but he's doable. To me, he'd be like a gatekeeper for Roofy to get into the top 10, top 15 type of situation. But yeah, if he comes off of this fight with a huge victory like he has done in the past with the last 3 fights, I think we could see Roofy possibly moving into the top 10 with no problem, and probably within the next 2 years being able to challenge for the UFC lightweight championship if he has fights throughout the rest of this year, all the way up to the end, and has like 2 more fights after this, which is capable of taking place if he's fighting every 3 to 4 months. He'll be able to do that. So yeah, I think Roofy's going to be one of the top-notch guys. He's definitely going to easily be in the top 5, without question. Him winning the UFC lightweight championship, it's thin air up there, man. There's a lot of good talent in the lightweight division of UFC, as well as the lower weights as well. And he's got a lot of work to do, but with his skills and capabilities of fighting in the octagon, I don't see why he can't. The higher he goes, the more we're going to be able to tell whether or not this guy's the real deal, and that's pretty much all there is to it. So we'll have to see how things go down with him and his career, but that's all I have to say at this time, guys. You know what to do. Hit the like button if you like this video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And leave a comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that. And I thank you guys very much for watching. And have a great night, guys. Bye.